Welcome to Tech Girl. So you're looking to create an e-commerce site within WordPress, but now you're in a dilemma. Which e-commerce plugin should you use? On one hand, you got WooCommerce, which is like the flagship e-commerce product owned by WordPress. Anything you want, it seems pretty capable. Well, on the other hand, you got SureCart, a fairly new plugin, but on paper it does sound really amazing. What do you do? Well, worry not, my friends. I took it upon myself to answer that question. So I loaded up two WordPress instances, one with WooCommerce and other with SureCart, to give my opinion on both. So in this video, we're going to compare them. Now, disclaimer, I have used WooCommerce before, so I'm going to be as unbiased as possible. But yeah, let's get started. But before we do, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Alright then, let's get started with the comparison between WooCommerce and SureCart. So here I got like 13 different slides, and we'll be making comparisons on these 10 points right here. Well, technically 9. The 10th one is conclusion, UI UX, speed, customization, emails, payment, extra features, checkout, security, and scalability. Now, I think all these things are really important when it comes to an e-commerce site, and especially when you're using a platform like WordPress, then the e-commerce plugin holds a lot of value. So we'll be comparing them on these 9 points right here. Now, you might see something right here and say, well, what about the pricing? So now the reason I did not compare pricing is because, SureCart has its own plans, but for WooCommerce, if you want added functionality, premium or like paid functionality, well then WooCommerce has its own marketplace with like extensions and themes and plugins that you can buy. There's a lot of things within WooCommerce, so we're just going to be exploring what sort of possibilities these plugins have, for what you have to pay, for what you don't have to pay, for something, how much will you pay compared to the other plugin, etc. And if we look right here, I have a point for scalability to see how far we can scale these. Because if you're an e-commerce store, if you're going to be generating money from your e-commerce store, then there's a good chance in the future you will spend money. So we're just going to see how much scalable they are, etc, etc. So I didn't really include pricing here. So I guess let's just get started with our first point right here, user interface and the user experience. So I got two local sites right here. One is loaded with SureCart, the other with WooCommerce. So we're just going to check them out both and I'll give you my thoughts. So this right here is SureCart's dashboard. You got one SureCart parent menu and you got sub menus within which there are many other menus. And yes, I would say I prefer SureCart's look more. Like, this thing is more clean, and 8 out of 10 times, whatever setting I'm looking for, I tend to find it with moderate ease. Now, as for WooCommerce, it's not that it's bad. WooCommerce has its things in order. If we look here though, WooCommerce has like 4 different menus: WooCommerce, products, analytics, marketing. And if we go into WooCommerce settings, then this is a whole different story. You got your sub menus right here. If I go within products, and if I just see this, I'll think, okay, so these are the only settings, right? But no, there are sub menus within these menus which have more settings hidden within them, and I think this can get a little bit confusing. But one good thing about WooCommerce might be that it does not really stray far away from the default WordPress backend, so people who are already familiar with WordPress might find it easy to work with WooCommerce. But then again, as for SureCart, I think this is more intuitive and it looks better, certainly. So I think I'm gonna give this one to SureCart. So now let's talk about speed. Now, in terms of speed, SureCart is faster, hands down. And the only reason why is because, traditionally your server and your plugin would work in this manner. And that is that your server and your plugin would be flowing data in between, and the plugin will be using your server's resources, right? And all the data stayed within your server. But now SureCart, it uses something called the headless technology. Basically, your server will be there, but all the processing that happens within the plugin does not really happen within your server. It happens in SureCart's own servers, and the outcome is only displayed on your server, taking off a massive load from your server, so your server runs super fast because all the processing is happening within the fast servers of SureCart. Now, there are a few drawbacks tied to this, like everything that you upload, all your users, all your product details, all the things that you upload, like your media, etc., all the emails that you'll be sending out, all of them will be sent via this SureCart server right here. Now, there can be a few drawbacks tied with it, and we'll get back to it in a bit, but in terms of plain speed, I would say SureCart beats WooCommerce. Now, if you want to go with WooCommerce, you're gonna have to invest in a really good hosting. If you want to use a lot of extensions within WooCommerce, spoiler alert, you have to use a lot of extensions, so you're gonna have to invest in a really beefy hosting. Now, I would go as far as to say, if you're planning on starting a small dropshipping store within WordPress, then I will say maybe you'll be able to cut it with a shared hosting if you're using SureCart, and eventually, as more users start flowing into your site, you can increase the hosting capabilities, right? But yeah, hands down, I would say in terms of speed, SureCart is definitely faster. Now, I have these two properties comparison right here of the SureCart and the WooCommerce plugin. Now the reason I have this here is because of what I saw within the WP Crafters SureCart versus WooCommerce comparison blog. Now I think this comparison was done with a fairly older version of SureCart, so the SureCart's size was only 17.6 megabytes, but as for WooCommerce it was around like 40 megabytes. And right here I use both the payment gateways that you would be using with WooCommerce, and I compared that with SureCart, but the plugin size turned out to be 76.5 megabytes for SureCart and 69 megabytes for WooCommerce. As more features are crammed within SureCart, SureCart is getting bigger as well, and we'll make a reference to these screenshots later on in the video. But it doesn't really matter how big the plugin is, in my opinion, because of course of this headless technology, all the processing is happening elsewhere. So yeah, we're gonna make reference to this back later on in the video. Alright, so now let's talk about customization between both these plugins. Starting at number 1, we have block support for both these plugins, but block support for SureCart is much better, partly because with SureCart you can edit a lot more things with blocks, and blocks, as we know, are quite flexible. Now one huge plus that SureCart has is you can edit your product pages or your single product templates like your page templates all from the plugin in the base version, like the free version. Now for WooCommerce that is not quite possible. Now the only things that you can kind of edit or manipulate using blocks will be the checkout page and the shop page, like to essential pages. For shop page you're gonna have to make a custom shop page. So yeah, WooCommerce does have blocks for that, but if we talk about block support, I'll say blocks support with the SureCart is much better compared to WooCommerce. You can only edit your checkout page for free. You can also edit your single product page, your shop page, and you have other page templates that you can see right here as well. WooCommerce, I'm pretty sure, does not have page templates. So if you want to edit single product page, if you want to make it look better, you're gonna have to install a plugin. Now there are free plugins out there and there are also premium plugins out there, but if it wasn't built within the plugin, it would have been so much better. Now the second point I want to get into is more themes and plugins will try to make themselves compatible with WooCommerce, and you might struggle finding plugins and themes with integration to SureCart. Now if you're running an e-commerce store, after a while you'll try to make things look better and you're going to be installing many different plugins and themes, and in that scenario you might be able to customize more things on WooCommerce because a lot of themes and plugins will already try to make themselves more compatible with WooCommerce since it's been around for a very long time. It has that higher market share, so to speak. Now SureCart is kind of new and you might struggle finding themes and plugins that integrate well with SureCart. Now within customization, I also included email customization, which is better within SureCart. Now here I've written no inbuilt customization, which is not exactly right. Now there is an inbuilt customization within WooCommerce, which I'll show you. If you go here within email settings, you got all these emails that is sent out either to customer or to the admin of the site. Now if I go here within like a completed order email that is sent, I can create a custom HTML template. Basically it says you can override the email template and you can add something to your theme folder. Basically, if you're going to like copy file to theme, you'll be able to view the template and you can edit the template. But one thing to keep in mind is that this template is a PHP template. Like you can change a few texts here and there, but you need to have a good grasp of PHP if you want to make better changes within this template. And also you're going to have to create a child theme, because if the theme updates, then all the changes that you've made right here to your email template will also be reset. So you'll have to create a child theme. If you don't know how to do that, well, you're going to have to look that up. So you're gonna have to do that. Now for email customization within SureCart, it is much simpler. Now within SureCart, you can simply click on edit on any of these customer emails that you can see right here, or any other emails, not just customer emails, store emails as well. And this will redirect you to app.surecart.com. Now, as I said before, SureCart uses headless technology, so everything happens in their own servers. So you're gonna have to log into SureCart, after which you'll have your own dashboard within app.surecart.com. And this is where you edit your emails as well. Now the email template here that you can see is HTML, and HTML, I would say comparatively, is much easier to PHP. And you can see right here, if you want to make changes to the text, you can do it. If you want to preview this, you can do this, and you can preview it as well to see what changes you've made. And yeah, I would say this is a much better experience. So customization wise, email customization is certainly better in SureCart. So now let's talk about the front-end customization part of both these plugins. Now for WooCommerce, you don't really have a front-end customization. This right here is the customer's My Account page that you can see. Now you can't really customize these in the free version. You're gonna have to install plugins for this. There might be paid plugins, there might also be free plugins, but yeah, the point being you're gonna have to install plugins and they might be premium. Now there are paid plugins like this right here. customize my account for WooCommerce, which you can use to make changes to this customer dashboard right here. But yeah, that one's premium. That's the one I know. There might be a few others which might help you do this for free, but the point being, you're gonna have to do that with a plugin. Now within SureCart, you can make changes to the customer area, but I think it is kind of limited. So this right here is the dashboard page of the SureCart that you can edit. Now if we look here in the front end, you can edit this page right here or this dashboard section. If within orders is a whole separate thing. Now suppose I want to make change to this sidebar right here and how it looks. If I want to make change to the background of this, well, I can't really do that within the plugin, but at least you can edit the customer dashboard, I guess. So there is that. You can at least do that. But overall, if we look at the default look of both of these dashboards, then I would say, now this is my take, which might be wrong, but I think WooCommerce My Account page is better because this integrates well with your site. Like if I look at this, then this looks like a part of my site. But if I go here and if I look at this does not really look like a part of my site. My site is this. Now the design is kind of off here. You can ignore that, but that customer dashboard just does not look like a part of my site. So that is the only complaint I have. But yeah, there you go. That's the thing about customization in both these plugins. For SureCart, to get better customization options, but if you want to customize further, then you might struggle a bit. Within WooCommerce, it does some things right, but yeah, not much is really given. But yeah, if you want to customize further with added plugins, etc., then there is definitely some hope there. So yeah, moving on now into emails. Now, I think we already made this point right here. Inbuilt customization uses PHP instead of HTML. So I think this is a bit limiting and kind of hard to do because you're also going to have to create a child theme. Now, inbuilt customization via app.surecart.com. Now, this is much easier and I would say better in terms of email customization that you see within WooCommerce. Now, one big plus that I think WooCommerce has, in the free version at least, is that, emails will be sent from whatever account you have. So suppose you have a webmail, like, sid@techgrill.com. Like, suppose that is my webmail. Well, I can send emails from that webmail, so my emails will have a personal touch. But emails in default in the free version within SureCart will be sent via notifications@surecart.com, and that is only customizable in the premium version of this plugin. So that means only available in the Grow version, which is $19 a month. So that's one plus that WooCommerce has. Now, considering this factor right here, that the inbuilt customization in WooCommerce is quite limited, you'll get tons of free plugins that you can use to elevate the look of emails. Now, there's a lot of premium options as well, but I think you'll do just fine with the free plugins out there to enhance the look of your emails for WooCommerce. Now, for SureCart, the inbuilt customization can be great if you want to make changes to the text, etc. Like, you could generate HTML elsewhere and you can paste in that HTML, but if you want to do more, then it's going to be harder to find plugins. But then again, if you have good knowledge of HTML, then you can do a lot more with SureCart as well. But I wouldn't really say SureCart email customization is limiting in any way. But yeah, if you know HTML, then you can do a lot of high converting email designs, etc., all within its email customizer as well. Now for WooCommerce, the fourth point I want to get into is that it has integrations, or you'll find a lot of mailing platforms with integrations to WooCommerce, like custom tailored integrations I'm speaking, not just like integrations. Because WooCommerce has been around for a while and market share, obviously, people want to jump on the next best thing that's there. So you'll find a lot of integrations for a lot of mailing platforms within WooCommerce. Now for SureCart, you may not really find tailored plugins that integrate well with SureCart, but you can always use Zapier or SureTriggers, which is a kind of a free alternative to Zapier to connect to multiple mailing integrations. Now I think WooCommerce kind of edges out in terms of mails. So now let's talk about payment processing in both these plugins. For WooCommerce, you got PayPal, Stripe, WooPay, which can be used for cards, etc. They're all available for free, but they're not inbuilt. You're gonna have to install plugins for each of these or extensions. Now for SureCart, you got PayPal, Stripe, Paystack, Molly, all available inbuilt. Now from what I understand, Paystack is kind of like a payment processor geared specifically towards Africa, and Molly is like a payment processor that is connected with a lot of other payment processors, so you can do a lot with Molly as well. And quite frankly, I think this will be enough. But if you live in some place which is not US or some country within Europe or any other countries, well then they'll have different payment processors. Like in my country, there are different payment processors that are only available nationwide. Even for those, there are integrations within WooCommerce, which is quite surprising. So if I want to create like a local site that is geared towards people within my country, and if I get integrations for such payment processors all within WooCommerce, then that is quite nice. That is quite neat. Within SureCart, you might have problems. If you want to create a site that is geared towards a certain country, which has like, different payment systems, etc., then you may not find payment integrations for such. So that might be a little bit of a hassle. Now within WooCommerce, there's only one-time payments. For all the others, like subscriptions or installment payments, etc., etc., you're gonna need plugins. Now within SureCart, you got subscriptions, pay what you want, donation, free trials, all these are available inbuilt. So that is quite nice. And there's one small caveat within SureCart, and that is if you're using the free version, you'll have a 1.9% transaction fee in their plugin. Now this is only if you use like the payment methods that are listed, so PayPal, Stripe, Paystack, Molly. But if you do something like bank transfer, etc., then I don't think then this transaction fee will be a problem. But yeah, within WooCommerce, there is no transaction fee of that sort in the free version. Now let's move on to extra features that both these plugins provide. Tax calculations is inbuilt in WooCommerce and within SureCart as well. But tax calculation in WooCommerce is very basic. For automatic calculations and EU VAT, you're gonna have to install a plugin, which I kind of forgot to type. I think I just gave up halfway through because I've been researching for a while for this video. But yeah, for this, you're gonna have to install plugins like WooTax and some other plugin. I think for EU VAT, you require a separate plugin called Jetpack, which I think is premium. So yeah, there's a lot more hassle for taxes if you're using WooCommerce. But within SureCart, there is better tax calculation inbuilt, but in the free version, it is limited to 1000 tax calculations. But if you upgrade to their premium plans, then you can do unlimited tax calculations for free. So there is better tax calculation within SureCart. And I think tax calculations will be very important if you have an e-commerce store, because obviously taxes and tax frauds, and if you're evading taxes, it's a bad thing, right? That's there. Now, extra features. Within SureCart, you get upsells, affiliates, order bumps, cart abandonments, installments. They're all available for free. Now, all these features, if we compare them within WooCommerce, for all these, you're going to have to rely on external plugins. But there is one plus to this, and that plus might be that, if you're going to use external plugins, they might provide you a better experience compared to what SureCart has inbuilt. But, I've not tested them, so take this opinion of mine with a grain of salt. But if you compare them on paper, then SureCart does give you more features in terms of maximizing your store revenue. Now, I think I already talked about mailing integrations and how you can use Zapier and Sure Triggers within SureCart. So yeah, I'm just going to skip this. I don't know why I added this twice here. If you want to have multiple team members, then within WooCommerce, you won't really have that problem. You can have unlimited team members who can simply log into WordPress and they can manage the store. Very simple. Now, within SureCart, you are limited to only 3 team accounts in the free version. I think it's 5 team accounts in the Grow plan, only 5 users in the Grow plan, and finally unlimited in the Scale plan. So yeah, that's something you're gonna have to keep in mind. But I don't think this is that big of a deal, to be honest. And the reason they have limits for users is because, as I said before, everything happens within app.surecart.com. Doesn't really happen within your site. So to access that site, if you want to have multiple different users, that's why they put a limit on the users. I hope you get it. So yeah, within WooCommerce, also what I saw was that, if you're dealing with physical products, they have better stock management. Like there is a whole different menu right here for stocks. If you go right, oops, wrong site. So if you go right here within WooCommerce, products, and analytics, my bad. If you go into analytics, you got a separate page for stocks, and you can check the SKUs, you can see what's in stock and how much stock you have left, and you can also export them. So this is pretty nice. So I didn't really see this sort of standalone stock management feature within SureCart. Within products, you can go right there and you can edit a product, and what you can do is you can check what's in stock and how much is in stock. But yeah, that is all you can do. Quantity available, you can adjust it, etc. But yeah, that is all you can do. So yeah, stock management is better within WooCommerce. And if we talk about analytics, if you go here, if you go at analytics with WooCommerce, you got analytics for your revenue, for your orders, for variations, like different product variations, what their analytics like, etc. You can view all that. Now for analytics within SureCart, I didn't really see much. Like within the SureCart dashboard, you can see revenue, orders, average order value, etc. But I think they haven't really put that much emphasis towards the analytics department. So I'll say that stock analysis and the analytics of your revenues and your overall general store is much better within WooCommerce. If this is something that matters to you, then yeah, WooCommerce is the winner there. But in terms of sheer features that both these plugins give, SureCart is the winner because you get so many features within the free version. And the things that I've listed here are just like some of the mind-blowing features it has. A lot of features, I'm pretty sure SureCart beats WooCommerce. There's a lot more features that I haven't listed here, but yeah, that's that. All right, then let's get started with the checkout comparison between WooCommerce and SureCart. So one of the big differences that you'll find within the checkout of WooCommerce and SureCart is that WooCommerce has kind of lengthy checkout process, and the checkout process is whenever you see a product or whenever a user sees the product, first of all, they're going to have to add it to cart, after which they'll go to the cart page, and then eventually they make it to checkout. Even for single items, by the way, so there is no direct checkout. So if you want to buy just a single item, like suppose I want to buy just this webcam from a store, then instead of buy now and checkout, I have to go through add to cart, and then I have to open the cart, and then again I have to proceed to checkout, and then I'm gonna have to check out. So this is the standard process. I'll show you how that looks as well. So here within the WooCommerce site, if I go into the shop and this random product right here, the Zurich, or is it Zurich watch, either way, there's no buy now button. I have to add it to cart. Once it has been added to cart, you can see view cart, Zurich watch. I'm just gonna say watch because I don't know the correct pronunciation of this word. Anyhow, watch has been added to your cart, and then you're gonna have to go to your cart, and it seems there's already a product here, so I'm just gonna remove this. Update the cart, proceed the checkout, and then I'm gonna have to fill out this lengthy form. So this is the checkout process for WooCommerce, right? So I can go down here, I can choose the payment method, etc. If I want to add a note to my order, I can do that, and then I'll have to, place the order. That is the process. Now let's go within a SureCart. So visit the site first. Let's go to the shop page, and here subscribe and say okay, multiple variation product. Just choose this. Now these are all sample products, by the way. And here within SureCart, you can see that there is a dedicated buy now button, and if I want to add it to cart, I have the option to, but if I don't want to, I just want to buy this product, then I can simply click on buy now. Now you might ask, why is buy now a better thing? Won't adding to cart mean they'll add more products to the cart and that means more money for the store? Well, that is true, but it is not that straightforward. So sometimes when people build these conversion funnels, they want to make sure that people have a very smooth checkout process, because whenever a checkout process kind of lengthens, then there's a good chance your customer might just wander off and they might not convert. So from a more high converting standpoint, it's better if there is a buy now button, and the users also have the option to add it to cart if they want to. But yeah, generally a buy now button is very important. So let me show you what the checkout page looks like. First of all, let me go right here, shop, the product. I'm gonna add it. Now the reason I opened this in an incognito window or in private window, because I'm using Edge, is because I won't be logged in. So buy now, and this is what the form looks like. Now compare the checkout form between SureCart and the form within WooCommerce. This is the WooCommerce checkout form. You can customize a few things here, but overall the user has to scroll quite a bit. Like this form is pretty long. Compare this to the SureCart checkout, well, this is better, and the checkout is already quite distraction free. You don't have a navigation, and you don't have any other unnecessary things here. You can just go in there, check out, and leave. Pretty simple for the users. Fill in your email, fill in your full name, country, address, city, and your zip code. Very essential shipping fields that you can use. And yeah, if you want to make sure that the billing address is the same as shipping, well, then the button is already checked. You can simply turn this off, and you can choose the billing address as well. For payment, we have this neat little box right here. Depending on what payment processor you're going to use, there'll be multiple options here. Simply choose whatever it is you want to, and if you want to order more of this product, well, then you can always do that. Simply add the product, and if you want to add a coupon code, you can do that as well, and simply purchase. Right? This is the standard checkout process in SureCart. Pretty simple, pretty easy to use. Now, another thing that I feel is kind of redundant within WooCommerce is that you see right here we have a checkout, right? Or my bad, we have a cart, and within the cart you can apply a coupon code. Sure, why not? Once you proceed to checkout, you also have the option to add a coupon code. So you see your cart and your checkout page, functionality wise, they act the same almost. Besides the part where you actually fill out your information and your shipping and your billing details. Like, I really don't see a use for this cart if I'm buying a single product. So that is why WooCommerce needs a direct buy button. I hope you get my point. It's just an extra step for users to follow. Now, you can achieve that functionality in WooCommerce with plugins. I think there's this plugin like Cart Flows or something, which helps you with funnel building and other stuff within WooCommerce, which is pretty good. Now, if you use plugins like those, which are solely focused on funnel building, etc., then you will achieve better functionality within your e-commerce site, functionalities that will even beat SureCart, even its premium version. So it really depends on which combo you want to use within WooCommerce. Like if you're running a multi-vendor store, something like eBay, then you could use WooCommerce and pair it with the Dokkan plugin, and you'll have a really robust multi-vendor site, which is not really possible within SureCart as of right now. Keywords as of right now. So within WooCommerce, you're gonna have to do your due research, all right? So moving on, block support for checkout field customization. I think I touched on this before. SureCart's customization checkout is better with the blocks, so I'm not really going to get into that. SureCart's is better. So now within WooCommerce, there's no thank you page after your checkout, so you're going to have to install a plugin to manually trigger a thank you page after someone checks out. You don't have form templates for your checkout page, so you don't really have an option besides the checkout that WooCommerce already has, which is this right here. If you want to have like custom fields and you want to change a few things around, you're gonna have to again install a plugin. Now there are free plugins, but if you want more functionality, there's a good chance you're gonna have to invest in a premium plugin. And for spam protection like reCAPTCHA or honeypot, etc., you're gonna have to install a separate plugin for WooCommerce. Now comparing that within SureCart, well, you have a custom thank you page, you have form templates for checkout. So if I go right here within the checkout form, I can change the template. If I don't really like how the look of this form, well, then I have a few different templates that I can choose with. I think the fields are going to be the same, but you can view them in different formats. Actually, it's not just the same fields. You also have a donation form, you have a double column form, you have sections, you got a simple form. Like this is pretty neat. You also have an invoice form. So yeah, to achieve this, you're going to have to use a plugin within WooCommerce, but yeah, all of them inbuilt within SureCart. There you go, you have a custom thank you page as well. You can simply type in the URL, you can create a custom page, you can slap the URL right here, and you'll have a custom thank you page after a user checks out. And also one thing I think that I kind of forgot to mention was that the cart in SureCart is pretty neat. I'll show you what that looks like. So now if I go into shop and whatever product, so I'm just going to choose this product, I'll add it to cart. Once it has been added to cart, this is what your cart looks like. I think I've turned off the cart right now, so I can't really view it from the navigation, but you can see that the cart appears from the right side of the window. And this is a much better approach to cart than your traditional, open a different cart page and then again proceed to checkout. You can simply open it up right there, right next to your product page, and click on checkout. And it's pretty simple. Okay, so now coming back to our checkout comparison, now checkouts can be a bit tricky. So I ran into a situation a few months back where I was building a site and I had to do this. So I was building this site a few weeks back and we ran into an issue. To register users, we didn't really have payment processors that we could integrate within the site. So we had to give out the bank details and the screenshot of the payment had to be uploaded in the form. Now by default, file upload fields are not available for either WooCommerce or SureCart, right? Now, when I was making this site, I was using WooCommerce. I didn't even know SureCart existed. It was not even a thing in my mind. But I remember back to that situation and how hard it was to get an image upload field in the checkout form and how I had to get a premium plugin within WooCommerce. So the thing about situations like that is, since I was using WooCommerce, I just went online, I typed in image upload field in WooCommerce. There was a free plugin actually, which I didn't end up using because of the design element. Later on, I ended up getting a premium plugin. Anywho, in the end of the day, it was possible to get an image upload field within WooCommerce. Like, they were available everywhere, left, right, and center, different plugins, free, premium. You could basically choose. But in terms of SureCart, I tried doing it many different ways. Now, plugins were almost non-existent. There were no plugins that aided in getting an image upload field in the WooCommerce checkout. So the last resort option I had was to reach out to SureCart support and I asked them, so I want to create a checkout page with a file upload field. I want users to transfer the money into a bank account and then upload the screenshot of the payment into the form. Been looking into how I could do that within SureCart. Do you have any helpful pointers or if there's something that I'm missing? I wanted to ask them. And they responded to me, I understand your question. You want to receive feedback as a file from your users on the checkout form. Unfortunately, this is not currently possible in SureCart. You may need to find a different workaround or approach to verify bank payments from your customers. So yeah, that was that. It was simply not really possible within SureCart. Now, I guess it would have been possible if I hired a developer, gave him some time, and he eventually got me a modified version of SureCart, which got me a file upload field in the checkout. But you see, that is too much work. And actually, I don't even know if it is possible since SureCart does everything in their own servers. I don't know how well that would work even if I hired a developer. But yeah, it was not possible. So it is tricky situations like these that you might run into where, WooCommerce being the older plugin with a lot of community backing it, might help you. So yeah, that's about it for checkout. So yeah, both of them have their pros and cons. Now with WooCommerce, you're gonna have to do a bit of research and you might have to spend a bit of money as well. With SureCart, if you're using just the free version, well then you don't really have to worry about anything. The customization is already better. The checkout process is really streamlined and it's already conversion focused. You get a custom thank you page, you have your form templates, you have spam protection. All of this is inbuilt. But if you want to scale further and you want nuanced checkouts, then there are nuanced checkout settings within WooCommerce. Like, if you want users to create an account during checkout, well, you have those options as well and many other options. If you want to enable guest checkout, basically, yeah, WooCommerce does have those nuanced features and you might be able to scale the checkout further. But if you're just creating a site where you don't want to think a lot, you just simply want to drag and drop, well, then SureCart is definitely better. So here we don't really have a clear winner, but yeah, that's about it for checkout. Now let's get into security side of things. If you have an e-commerce site, security is going to be really important since you're dealing with people's data, really sensitive data, as well as their money. So yeah, within WooCommerce, the biggest upper hand is that all the data is processed in your own site. So none of the data exits your site. But with SureCart, since all the processing is happening in the SureCart servers, due to it being headless, that is what gives you the best performance, they have a good control over your site. Like, all the data, like all the products that you have, all the media that you might upload of your products will go there. All the order processing happens there. All the emails are sent via the SureCart servers. And I think a lot more things happen within the SureCart servers that I'm currently missing. So yeah, the thing is, whenever a user is signing up to your site, they're not just signing up for your terms and conditions, but also the terms and conditions of SureCart, which, even though their terms and conditions right now might seem fine, later on down the line, maybe the ownership of the plugin might change and things might happen. Either way, possibilities, right? That's what I'm saying. Possibilities. All I'm saying is SureCart does have a good control over your site. Now, things like, suppose if SureCart does not really want you using their services for no reason whatsoever, they have the capability to remove you and make sure that your site doesn't function. Like, they have that capability, right? And obviously, if you're leveling up your e-commerce game, then you might not really like the idea of that. Like, that might not happen. SureCart is in good hands from what I've seen. I'm like 99% certain that sort of stuff will not happen, but it might. That's the point. So, that's one thing security wise. And within WooCommerce overall, I saw better privacy controls for your users. If I go right here within WooCommerce, if we go within settings, we have a dedicated accounts and privacy tab right here. And you have a lot of nuanced features relating to people's personal data and privacy. So I really like this. You can also see personal data retention, choose how long to retain personal data when it's no longer needed. So basically what I'm saying is you have control over people's personal data, security, everything. So yeah, you have better privacy controls. Now within SureCart, when I look at the plugin, I go into its settings, I look at other things right here, like, security and privacy was not really their forefront. Like, I don't see a privacy tab with like settings as to how you can control the data, etc. So yeah, that's not there. I think you'll have to dig a bit deep within their terms and conditions, but yeah, that's that. Now, one major downfall that WooCommerce may have is that it is highly reliant on other plugins that are not created by WooCommerce or Automatic, which is the parent company of WooCommerce themselves. Like, other plugin authors, like other plugin developers and other plugin companies who may have loopholes in their code, and there's a good chance that it could lead to your site's information being leaked. Like, there is a possibility. Now, I'll say this, WordPress does have a pretty robust community that works on finding out this information, patching them, and yeah, WordPress ecosystem has a pretty good security, not just in terms of plugins and services that help you keep your site more secure, but also a community that is highly dedicated to it. If you want to watch a video regarding WordPress security, I have that video in this channel as well, so make sure to check it out. But it is still highly probable that in search of some really nuanced feature within WooCommerce that you might stumble on a plugin that does not really have a lot of active installations, and that is the only plugin that you can use, or that is the only plugin that gives you the functionality that you want across the entire WooCommerce marketplace or the WordPress plugin store. Well, it's possible that that plugin could have some loopholes which could lead to massive outage of your site. Now, in terms of SureCart, it does have less dependency on external plugins, which means better security. And on top of that, a lot of what's happening does not really even happen on your site. It happens on SureCart servers. So if someone really wants to take information from your site, they're not just going to have to get into your site, but they're also going to have to get into SureCart's site. So 98% chance the data on your SureCart server will not go anywhere and no one's going to breach into it. But yeah, it is like 40% probable that, if you're using a WooCommerce site and if you have a vulnerable plugin, someone might get into your site. So in terms of security, this is really nuanced, so I'm not really sure which one takes the cake, but yeah, you can be the judge of that. Moving on to scalability. So when we're really comparing a plugin, I think we gotta see how far can we push this plugin? Like, how far can these plugins go? Well, when you think about pushing e-commerce really far, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? It might be, thousands of products. Well, how many products are you really going to sell as an e-commerce store? Well, then maybe you think about platforms like eBay, where they have like thousands and thousands, or maybe even millions of different vendors or sellers with billions of product. Like, that might be really pushing the limits, right? Well, how possible is that scenario between these two plugins? Well, within WooCommerce, there already is such a system called the Dokkan plugin that allows a full-blown marketplace creation, and it has already been going on. So as you can see, this right here is the plugin, Dokkan Powerful WooCommerce Multi-Vendor Marketplace Solution. Build your own Amazon, eBay, Etsy. So yeah, this right here is the plugin. It already has 50,000 plus active installations. And if you go look at the ratings, this plugin is being used and is actively being loved by many. So, it's already there, and people have been using WooCommerce for this. So saying that a full-blown marketplace is possible is not really that far off, or, it's not even that far off. It is possible with WooCommerce, as we can see. So an example of this would be like, suppose you are a really avid Pokemon card collector, and you want to have a platform where people can come, they can list their own Pokemon cards, and, people can bid on it, and they can sell those cards. Well, then it is possible within WooCommerce. Now, from what I saw within SureCart, you really cannot compete on that level yet. Well, SureCart might come with something really mind-boggling in the coming years, which, maybe at that point, SureCart might be able to compete on that level, but there is nothing yet. Now, I'll say this, scaling in SureCart is easier up to a level with simple premium plans, right? So now you saw that you have two premium plans within SureCart. One is like $19 a month and the other one is $14 a month. Now, according to your need, you can compare which one suits you the best and you can buy one of them, right? Now, if you're looking for a simple solution and all the things that are listed right here serves all your needs, then you can simply buy a grow plan or a scale plan and you'll be good to go, without having to deal with a lot of hassle of security or your website hosting and other things, right? And you'll be able to scale to an extent with relative ease, like just for $9 a month, and you have a great e-commerce site ready. Now, if you want to scale further though, it's gonna be hard. I don't know if SureCart has like custom tailored plans for a user. If someone has a really big e-commerce site with custom needs, I don't know if SureCart provides that or will be able to provide that in the future. But yeah, with WooCommerce you can scale higher, but it does need more work and perhaps more paper from your wallet. That's always there, isn't it? You can scale higher with WooCommerce. It'll be a little bit more complex. Like, you're gonna have to work on getting the best hosting because everything is processed on your site. So, you really can't have a slow website. So you're gonna have to invest in really good hosting. You need to understand what hosting is like and you gotta set up that hosting. And if you don't know, you gotta hire devs who are gonna talk with the hosting company regarding the needs of the site, like designs. If you're using many different plugins, sometimes getting the design uniform across different aspects of different plugins will be kind of hard, and you might have to work twice as hard to keep the design uniform across different pages or different functionalities between different plugins within WooCommerce. I hope you get what I mean. And compatibility might be an issue, like, different extensions that you might have for WooCommerce may or may not be compatible. Well, that's a rare case, but there's always a possibility. Some things might not be really compatible, so you're gonna have to work through that as well. But if you do, well, then you have the greatest e-commerce site within WordPress ready. Like, there's a possibility of that. You could do that, but yeah, it's going to take more work. Within WooCommerce, in terms of scalability, what you can also do is you can code custom things within WooCommerce. Since everything is reliant on your own site, or you are your e-commerce site, right? You're not reliant on external servers really. Well, then at that point, you can hire expert WordPress developers who are also an expert in WooCommerce. There's already platforms like Woo Experts with WordPress and WooCommerce experts who can help you with custom tailored features for WooCommerce and WordPress. And also, I'd like to add on another thing, that is that Automatic owns WooCommerce. Automatic is the parent company of WordPress. So since Automatic owns WooCommerce, WooCommerce is always going to be more compatible with newer versions of WordPress. And that's always there as well. So yeah, scalability in WooCommerce will be much easier if you have a really beefy, really beefed up hosting. It's always going to be easy. And in terms of SureCart, I'm not really sure. I think it will be really hard to make custom additions to SureCart because of the learning curve, first things first, that the developers have to learn. Even your expert WordPress developers will have a hard time trying to create a different plugin that integrates well with SureCart because SureCart has a code of its own. So they will face this learning curve, But on top of that, since SureCart is so reliant on their own server, I don't know how far you can really take it. So yeah, that's always there. I don't think you'll be able to do much. That's what I think, but then again, I don't know much. I could be wrong in that case, but I can certainly tell you it's going to be really hard with SureCart. So in terms of scalability, up to an extent, SureCart helps you scale really easily. You can scale up to that point with WooCommerce as well, but then if you want to scale higher, you obviously can. It's going to require more work. In terms of scalability, I think WooCommerce wins. Alright, hey, this is Sid from the future, and I wanted to add this segment. So right after I recorded that video, I threw out this random tweeting at SureCart and WooCommerce. Basically, I was curious to know if there was anyone who switched from SureCart to WooCommerce and what the reasons were. And I was also trying to build some sort of hype for this video. Even though Tegrill doesn't have a lot of followers, which reminds me, you should go follow Tegrill on Twitter. And I didn't really have a lot of hope for this tweet, but turns out the co-founder of SureCart responded. And yes, this was least expected. Anywho, he goes on to say that SureCart was created due to his frustrations with WooCommerce and how he also has a product called Cart Flows, which I have mentioned in the video prior. Anywho, he talks about the three main issues that he faced with WooCommerce, and one of them was 100% dependency on add-ons. Basically, a lot of different add-ons which might conflict with each other, and after that, constantly updating plugins. So, a lot of plugins, a lot of them will be releasing different patches, different feature updates, etc. So you're gonna have to keep updating, and if something breaks, then there you go. Basically, the first 2 points highlight the main issues of WordPress with its high dependency on the add-ons. And the third one is something that I actually missed in the video, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to add this segment in the video, and it says staging is impossible. This is because there is no single source of truth. If you create a staging site, subscriptions will now process 2 times, which is a terrible thing. Want to go to staging, make changes, then merge it back? You can't do that due to orders, order statuses, etc., which will be overwritten. There are other things, but for me personally, these 3 were the main ones. So there you go, coming from a power user, staging is impossible, so which I wouldn't have been able to figure out, but there you go. And on top of that, SureCart released something else as well. So right after I recorded this video, I saw that SureCart uploaded this video on their channel, SureCart 3, welcome to the new era of WordPress e-commerce. And basically in this video, Adam goes on to talk about how they are going to focus on customization. As we saw before, customization in the front end was kind of limited. So yeah, in this update, basically, he starts off by saying that customization is something they are going to focus on. And on top of that, SureCart is also bringing a lot of different things in this update, which is quite frankly amazing. They also have integration for Bricks Builder, which is coming soon. And quite frankly, it's refreshing to see a plugin that hears what their audience has to say and disrupts the market. And SureCart has done a great job of disrupting the market. So yeah, that's pretty plausible. I wanted to add this segment to the video as well, because most of it transpired after I recorded the video. So yeah, so there we go. Now on to my conclusion. So then, what is the conclusion? Well, the conclusion between SureCart and WooCommerce can be summed up in a single word, and that word is need. Smaller, straightforward sites for your business, or if you're creating like use and throw dropshipping sites, need something to sell things as a brand that exists outside of commerce. I don't know, if you're like a YouTube celebrity or a TikToker or a TikTok star as they call it, well then you can set up a quick SureCart site, you can sell a few of your merch and you'll be good to go, right? It does these things easily and quick without a lot of hassle. But SureCart isn't even trying to compete with WooCommerce. I think SureCart is trying to compete with Shopify. The more I look at this, the more I see that, SureCart isn't really trying to build an infrastructure within WordPress. It's trying to be something of its own, and WordPress just seems like a really good place to gather a lot of users. So I think SureCart in the future will be something like Shopify. That's what I think. So yeah, SureCart isn't even trying to compete with WooCommerce. And if you want to create smaller, straightforward sites without really a lot of customization, or if commerce is not your major focus, then SureCart is the way to go. If the major focus of your business is commerce, like you make your living or your company runs off of commerce and online sales, and you need to integrate it with a WordPress site, like a marketplace with multiple vendors, a bigger online store with a centralized system, or a really niche store that has its custom needs, well then WooCommerce is what you're looking for. So there you go. This sums up everything. If you are a normal user, SureCart for sure demolishes WooCommerce, but if you are a power user of e-commerce, well then at that point WooCommerce demolishes SureCart. So there you go. This is a quite lengthy video, but you know what? This is one of those videos where I worked really hard, I researched for weeks, and yeah, I'm glad it's over. So there you go, WooCommerce versus SureCart. Let me down, I can't speak today. Let me know down in the comments below which plugin you're going to be using and for what purpose. Also let me know what you thought about this video, and that's about it. I'll see you whenever I'll see you. Take care.